everybody. Welcome to Peace Within the Journey of Forgiveness. I have Mr. DC.
Yes. Hey, good afternoon. Glad to be here.
Yes, I'm glad you are here, and I appreciate that you accepted the invitation for coming on my show.
Thanks for asking me.
Okay, cool. I know our introduction to how we met.
Good
You
to be able to share some
humble
light,
and sweet.
share some, light and knowledge.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
So let's start off. So, what's your definition of forgiveness?
Um, to let go of like negative thoughts or feelings that you have towards someone, to let go of that, to not be resentful against someone. I think that's how I would define forgiveness.
Okay, that's good. You put it in action. That's good because a lot of people say other things. They didn't say that, and that's good. So,
Mhm.
can you express or give us an example of any negative thoughts that you had to let go?
I would say with, we let go negative thoughts with families, friends, coworkers. I've had a lot of experiences where I had to forgive people, and even in the transition now, having to forgive people. But I'm a person that is very patient. I'm a person that I don't have any motives against people, but if things are done to me, I always try to find a way to like to forgive them, right? I guess you can say to forgive, to let it go. Find, a way to show love, to reflect on it and say, oh, this could be an experience, because you could be learning from someone too. This could be an experience for me so that I can grow and be a better person. But you also have to remember, but it's hard for me to, I don't know what the word I'm trying to find, to not be so helpful and to understand you can't help everybody. And
Mm,
that's something I struggle with, that I'm learning throughout my journey.
okay, that's
You
good.
know, and maybe being too nice to people is what people say to me. But in order to forgive somebody, you have to still show love, right? And
True.
that's the hard part. I'll give you an example. I had a coworker. It was her birthday. It was a couple years ago, and I gave her, a cupcake. I drove out in the rain, went all the way to Whole Foods. I know she loves cupcakes, and got like a personal cupcake and gave it to her. She was very excited about it. And then maybe a week later, I saw one of the students walk up the stairs with the cupcake. So I asked her about it, and she was not being honest to me. And she just came out and said, oh, I took that cupcake home, blah, 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 blah. You know, and our relationship's been kind of rocky at work, but I still find ways to try to build a relationship with her. And sometimes it's hard for me, even at work, as an educator, uh, because I'm the only Black male teaching academics. And then, I'm in between, like, a lot of women. Most of them could be, Caucasian. And then I'm dealing, with that. And then also, there's Black women, of course. I support all women because my mom was a single parent. So I get it. You get what I'm saying? But there's times where you have to find ways to forgive, when they do some petty things. And it's like, okay, I gotta try to let this go, because you don't know their experience, you don't know their issue, and that's me. And I start thinking about that, but then also, I have to remember how to protect myself,
Mm.
because
That's
that can cause a lot of damage too.
yeah.
You
That's
know,
good. That's good that you said that. I want to ask you, did this come natural? Did you learn this from birth, growing up in your mom house, or this is something you started saying, this is what I need to do so I can be healthy as an adult?
I think something that I need to do, but also I would say even my family. And even though my mom was single, my dad was still there, but necessarily isn't there. Like, I can call my dad, I know him and I know he loves me. But there are times where, when I was growing up, me being the middle child, he would, well, just not even me being the middle child, but he would, because he was like a Rolling Stone. I would say he had a lot of wives, and it seemed like they always come first in our family. And my grandparents, my grandmother kind of spoiled him, was like, oh, well, we'll just watch the kids when it's his weekend. And we were always there. And it was like, but he's going on trips. I haven't even been on a trip. I would have loved to experience that, but I'm here with my grandparents. My mom be like, nah, that's not cool. It's not their responsibility to do this. And she would, come pick us up sometimes because it's not their responsibility.
Mm, that's good. Have you had a talk with your father as an adult or
Yes,
like?
we've had these conversations, but things have gotten better. Relationship, has progressed, but sometimes you realize you have to accept people for who they are and embrace it because this is who he is. But I still know he loves me. You know what I'm saying? Anything will happen, he's going to be there. Like anything very urgent, he will be there.
That's nice.
So
So
you got
you,
to think about all the positive things through those challenges, and be grateful for that, so that you can forgive and move on, because it's not easy. It's
it's
not an easy thing. Mm-mm. It's
it's
not an easy thing. I'll give you another example with a coworker, my principal. We've had a good relationship. I've been working with her for about 3 years. We're keeping everything anonymous, no names. But she came to me and said, we have to switch your assignment. I was really happy being a resource teacher. And she was like, you have to do self-contained, which comes with a lot of responsibilities and a lot of work. And now in the middle of the school year, that means I have to get a classroom, put my classroom together, collect data, gather materials. It's a lot that I have to do. And I can't do it at the same time servicing kids, because she still wanted me to do the service my current students, right? And on top of preparing for my new assignment. Now, what she did give me a 10-day notice, which was correct. She was supposed to do that, but she could at least gave me 3 days to prepare, like to come to work, to not service my kids. Think about, some students are absent 2, 3 days out the week, or some students are sick. I'm just giving an example. 3 days, you could have gave me 3 days, to because of the situation. She made it seem like I didn't want to service my students. So for the first week, I serviced them, and then we had like our collaborative planning meeting with all the other SPED teachers, and they were like, "No, you need those days for yourself to prepare, and you have the right to do that." So I went ahead and did that for the first 3 days. She found out the word of mouth. She came down and was like, where's your student? Blah, blah, blah. She got mad. She sent an email out saying, well, we got to figure out what we're going to do about this, what are going to be the consequences. So she pretty much reprimanded me and gave me this letter. My building rep and the assistant principal were, supporting me, but she said that she still wanted to do it. Now, one thing, I didn't sign the letter, but it was a letter. She put out a letter of concern because I didn't service my students. Now, I looked at her and said, I service my students. I care about my students, and I always work. I work hard. I even stay after contractional hours, 7, 8 p.m. I didn't want to stay here until midnight to try to put a classroom together, and how am I supposed to collect data on my new students, because they leave at 4 o'clock. People leave at 4 o'clock. So I have to actually reach out to the literacy coach, reach out to our math coach. It's a lot of things I have to do to make sure our class is effective, and they can actually, my lessons, like, it's everything changed. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not pushing in supporting teachers, which I was doing because I guess they had to do it because we had more students, which I get. And we had to, make sure we're under compliance. And I get that part, but she could have still given me 3 days based on the situation, because under the contract, I explained to her in the meeting that this is very vague. So based on the situation, you could have gave me some days to make sure everything, was like put together, which would make sense if you actually cared about the kids
yes.
and your staff. Like, I have other things to do after school, and sometimes I stay late. I even tutor after school and I stay virtually. So that's another thing I'm doing. So where do I have the time to do this? Explain that to me.
Is this her character?
Hmm?
Is this her character, or she was trying to set you up to fail?
I don't think she was trying to set me up to fail. And that's when, my union rep, building rep, heard about this. She supported me and reached out to our field rep. He wanted to put in a grievance. I just kept everything documented, and I asked him, I said, please do not put in a grievance. I want to actually give her an opportunity, a chance, which she could have gave me. But I forgave her because we've always had a good relationship. And the week after I asked her, I had a talk with her and I said, you seem to be a little different this year. And it was just not towards me. It was she was like, what's the word? Going hard on a lot of people, others in the school. So I think it's some other things going on that she's not acknowledging. And, I think it's best that she tell, the team so that we could work together as a unit. I think she's going about it the wrong way. And I kind of know what it is, even though she's not telling me. You understand what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, let everyone know. Because I had this conversation. She was like, this is just the hardest job I've ever had. She's like, I've been an assistant principal. I've been a literacy coach. I've been a math coach. I've been a teacher. So she's done all these great things. And I know she's a loving person. And I think that she did it because she wanted me to learn something from it, but she went about it the wrong way. And that's what I think happened. I had to take some time to really reflect on it because once things happen, people are ready to jump up. But it's like, is this the right decision though? Because now we're cool. Is it the right decision? And I don't think she's trying to get rid of me or anything like that. I think she got upset because she felt like I didn't let her know. We didn't have a conversation. But again, she could have had that conversation with me to understand that this was a lot and could have just said, oh, Mr. Clark, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 days. I felt like I was put under a lot of pressure and I didn't know what to do, except say, okay, this is my job and this is what she's asking me to do.
This shows a lot about your character, a lot of people don't talk about how they say, you know what, I know this happened to me, but let me step back and reflect before I move in a certain direction.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard. I really appreciate that because sometimes, people move with emotions and, this is how you treated me, I'm going to treat you. So as I'm listening and you're speaking, I hear that forgiveness is a lifestyle for you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my parents, they forgive too. Mm-hmm,
So you saw that in the home?
Yep, for me. Yep.
Give us an example, because some of us never seen forgiveness in the home with the parent. Because I know I was raised by a single parent, or I was, pushed to this house and pushed to this.
Right. But they definitely believe in, you have to learn a lesson. But, you forgive as well. In some aspects, my parents, I think I'm more forgiving, but I learned it from them too. I think they tell me every day, they know me, you know what I'm saying? From the outside looking in, they know me and they're like, sometimes my mom, you can't help everyone. Like you want to love, but you can't help everyone. You can support people or give them guidance. And I'm learning when you see the red flags, you're going to have to provide support from a distance, right? For certain people.
Yeah, set your boundary.
Right. You ask, what does that forgiveness look like? Because we'll say, oh, we forgive people, but then what are our actions afterwards towards that person? So are we really forgiving them? And then when we do forgive them, how should we forgive them? So these are questions that, these are prompt, questions we need to ask ourselves, how should we forgive them? If you see somebody with, red flags, maybe you can forgive them, let them know and have a conversation, but still keep it at a distance. How do you, and it's not that you're a bad person. And that's what I'm learning. You don't have to give everything because you don't know what they're going through, what they have to work out. And it could be damaging to you while you're still trying to heal. Does that make sense? Is that
Oh, it definitely makes sense to me.
yeah? So it's hard. It's not easy, you know.
Yeah,
You gotta be more like God every day, but it's not easy.
that's why I say it's a journey because it's not a rush thing. It's an everyday thing. It's a
Right. That's
every
for
minute, every second, every hour. You know.
right. Mm-hmm.
We was having a conversation on Bible study, and this lady
Mm-hmm.
was talking about forgiveness and how. And I said, like you said, you got to set boundaries. Some people,
Right.
you can
And I'm
say,
learning that.
yeah, this is what you
That's
did,
hard.
but I have
Mm-hmm.
to remove myself from you. And I'm biblical too. God
Mm-hmm.
teaches us, we still,
Right.
like you said, support.
Right.
But I don't have to sit at your table every day. I don't have to come to your house every day. I don't
Yeah.
have to go to the
It gets
movies. I don't have to eat with you. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But
Mm-hmm.
I have to support you and then move on because I'm still going to hold myself accountable to what God want me to do as a Christian woman. You
Right.
know?
Right. Right. And that person's listening. You know, they're listening, and they can always reach out and ask questions, and you're helping them.
Yeah.
You're
They.
sharing that knowledge of what you learned, you know, and giving back. Like, and that's a good thing. You're contributing to them inside of them.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's better than money. That you know, that's something you can't take away.
no. It's
That
being
feeling, that feel good. You know, the transformation is it's good.
yeah. It's being healthy and
Healthy, yeah, it's great, right?
that's
And it takes time. The challenge is not easy. Like, you know, I'm still dealing with stuff. You know, we all have our things, and we just have to get through it.
would you like to share on some of this? What are you dealing with? You said some of the stuff, so I know stuff means a lot. So how can you compact it and just give us a little understanding of your journey in that?
Just maybe sometimes speaking up for myself, learning how to, it's okay to not always, you don't have to be too helpful. You know, how, well, it's the learning how to be helpful. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not giving too much, not giving all of myself because you don't want to, what is it? To have someone absorb everything out of you
Mhm.
because then you have nothing.
Or take advantage of you.
Take advantage, right? Yeah.
So you really not assertive. You're not an assertive individual.
I can be. It depends. It depends. It depends. But I'm learning more and more
Okay.
every day. If that makes sense.
So how are you learning?
Because
When
sometimes it could give me anxiety. You know, I'm dealing with that, and I'm trying to get rid of that. You know, because you know, my experience, my last relationship was like 5, 6 years ago. I learned a lot from that relationship. You know, and you know that person, you know, end up being abusive, and I had to find a way to get out, and I got out. You know what I'm saying? But I still had to find a way to love that person and to remember they still had good qualities about them and to understand because I understood their journey, like their experiences. So I took that into consideration, if that makes sense.
it makes sense.
Yeah, it
Um,
wasn't easy, but I got out of it. You know, I totally forgive them. You know, I provided them. They actually came to me and said thank you because they changed their life around because of me. They said it was you that caused me to go get help because at first they didn't, and they went and got help, and they're like a whole different person. They're actually in a healthy relationship now. They're dating
oh,
like some principal. They're doing well, and I think I think they may have gotten married.
oh wow.
The
So
word,
they just their
but they
way.
me they wanted to be back with me, but I was like, that's not a
Thank
good
you.
see, no, you know, for my journey it's not good. But you know, I definitely, you know, support people that want the opportunity to change. You know, how are we to say, you know, because they did something wrong, um you know, how are we to say they can't have the opportunity to be right? Because we're upset that they did something wrong, so obviously we want them to be right. Because if they're wrong, you know, if they're doing something that's not good and they continue, do we want that to fester within our communities?
Yeah.
Or do we want to try to fix our communities? And that takes a village. That takes, you know, a unity. Like we all have to do our part.
So who was there
All
to
of us are
support you?
perfect. Huh?
Who was there to support you through your recovering of this abuse that you dealt with?
My family and my friends,
Okay, so you
and they
was
still
open to
support me
your
today.
that's good.
Yeah.
When did you say enough is enough?
After the second time,
Okay.
yeah, I had to get myself. I was like, what am I doing? What is this? Like, am I allowing this person to take control of me? Like, this is not me. And I had to step up to the plate and say, this is enough. I had to be strong to call the police. I had to be strong, and I came up with a strategic plan so I wouldn't get hurt again.
Mm,
Why I call the police? I'm always thinking ahead a little bit, so because I was like, oh no, this is not going to happen again.
okay. And I'm glad you got out that relationship. Um, what was the red flags? Did you see the red flags or was
I
just
did. I did see some of the red flags. I think that I was the type that, oh, I can help and I can change this person. Then I realized I was using so much of my energy that they didn't really change. But fortunately, it did something because when I left, that's when they started to actually change, and they said it was because of me.
mm. What was the red flags? Give us some points on red flags.
Um, how can I, like, drinking, getting upset over little things, you know, I would I don't know how to describe it really. It was
You should
getting
describe
upset.
it the best way you can so people can understand these
Uh-huh.
are good because some people might look at it not as a red flag, but these are
Hmm.
actually unhealthy behaviors that
It's
this person
very
is.
hmm when we're going out, getting very aggressive, blaming things on others that they actually did, trying to impress other people by make it seem like they are this but they're really not. Does that make sense? Like putting a mask over, but that's not really who they are. Or doing things and can't really afford it. Or you understand what I'm saying? All these things are red flags.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow. I'm so glad that you shared that with us so people could
Hmm.
understand. You know, a lot of red flags don't like you
Yeah.
excuse me, a lot of red flags are different. It's not abusive how oh they hit me the first time. You showed a different type of red flag.
Right, right. And I dated this person for a year because I wanted to wait, and it didn't happen until after we like were in a relationship. So that's another thing people need to watch out for. You say, oh, I waited, this long, this person's great, this and this, but I do see some red flags, but I don't think it's a big deal. But nah, because I dated this person for a year and never put a hand on me until that one time. Never seen it coming.
When y'all was dating, he wasn't that person wasn't drinking a lot or
I mean, he was aggressive, but he just never put his hands on me. So I'm thinking like, okay, I probably can, deal with this. I could probably help, this person, change this person, make them better. Cause I know they're not that bad, telling myself these things.
so learning from that and moving forward, how do you see yourself moving forward and get into another relationship?
Oh, I'm ready now. Like I went to counseling. I read a lot of books.
Okay.
Friends
What
and family support. So I'm good. Like I'm not an abusive person or anything like that. I'm more
so you
loving than
yeah,
anything. I've learned how to have my boundaries
good,
and
okay.
not to I would never put myself in that situation because I understand I have family and friends that love me and care about me. I have people that
Yeah.
care about me. Like I have
How long did it take
responsibility. Hmm?
how long did it take for you to heal your heart? Like, or is you ready, but your heart is your you can be ready to be in a
Uh-huh.
relationship, but still have a little, little open space in your heart. Do you feel
Right.
like your heart is completely healed?
Yes, I completely forgave him.
Okay,
Definitely, especially if I could see him out and smile and say hello, and it doesn't bother me. If it doesn't bother me, I know I'm healed.
that's good. We
Hmm.
that's perfect because
Yeah.
everybody goes through different things in relationship where they gotta
Hmm.
move forward. And I
Right.
always, you know what? I'm suspicious. of
Mm-hmm.
people who jump from relationship to relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
To me, that's a red flag of a person
Right.
character.
Right. Because it's like, are you really dealing with your stuff? Right. Because not every relationship is perfect, but why do you have to keep jumping from relationship to relationship? What is really going on in there?
And then when you
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship, you're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
give yourself time because you're like, hold up.
Right.
Because when you go in a relationship, you thinking this
Mm-hmm.
is gonna be forever.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
if
Right.
you can end a relationship and go to another relationship, then that something is wrong with that individual. And
Right.
sometimes
Absolutely.
I laugh at people when they be like, when they ask me and say,
Mm-hmm.
what was the last time you was in a relationship? And I tell them, first of all, I'm not counting. It's so long, I don't remember. And they don't. I guess they want me to say, "Oh, my last relationship was 6 months." No, my last relationship was so long. Like I wasn't
Right. Right. And some of
some years.
right. Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. They'll say, "Oh, well, why aren't you in a relationship? Why has it been so long? Look at you like it's a problem." I'm like, no, it's not a problem. Actually, it's a good thing for me.
Because I'm not jumping from
That's
this
it.
person to
Right.
that person to
Right.
that person
But
to
just
this
not
person.
accepting everything too,
Yeah,
because that's where the problem comes in. You know.
thank you. And knowing yourself. That's good. So
Exactly.
you give us a lot of people, and they
Mhm.
say, statistics say, and I'm glad
Right.
you said you went to therapy, because statistics say a lot of men are not open to
Mhm.
therapy. Can you give us your experience and give some insight to men how important therapy is?
So when I started therapy after my relationship was like 4 years ago, I actually need to get back into therapy, but I think it's a good thing because you're
Okay.
able to like express yourself. You're able to open up, and that's like part of the healing process. And you're able to have someone listen to you. You know, that's part of the healing process. Sometimes we just have to listen to each other. That's all people want to hear, and giving some good advice. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you don't open up, people aren't in your brain, so they don't know. They may actually know how to help, but they don't want to assume either. You have to let them know. If you let them know, then they can, properly help you or give you what you need, because everyone doesn't need the same thing in order to be, successful, with themselves, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. So,
Mhm.
do you remember any takeaways from your therapy?
uh, to have boundaries. That was the biggest thing. The therapist told me, she turned around because I know my time conflicted when I went back to work. It was like during the summer. And she turned around, she said, "Mr. Clark," she's like, "all you need is therapy." I mean, no, I'm sorry, not therapy, boundaries, excuse me. Boundaries. That's all you need. That's it.
Did she give you tools, any kind of tools to help you to establish these boundaries?
No, she didn't. She just told me to have boundaries.
And what's your boundaries?
And I had some books that I read and I shared it with the group. And she always, it was so funny because she always wanted me to sit near her and have me talk. Like she even really taught, like I think I was helping other people because I was really trying to deal with my stuff. And I was like, I have to figure this out. I gotta get back to me. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not cool.
Mm. So, give us one of your no, three of your boundaries.
Three.
Yeah.
Um, One would be, okay, like if I was interested in somebody, right, I would go out on a date with them publicly first, just to kind of get to know them. One of my other boundaries now is to not spend a lot of money, to try to do things that are more affordable. So that's another boundary of mine. And to which is, like I said, again, to be helpful, but not to give my all. And it depends on who the person is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that making sense? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Did I
Yes.
answer your question? I just want to make sure I answered it correctly.
Yes. Those were three
What
boundaries.
do
I'm gonna
you
give you my
think?
three boundaries.
Mhm.
And this is cross the board
Okay.
relationship,
Right.
like relationship, if I'm getting in a relationship of dating to
Right.
marriage, relationship with
Hmm.
friendship,
Right.
relationships with parents,
Mhm.
relationship with anybody, church people,
Right.
relationships with coworkers.
Hmm.
Lying,
Oh,
you
yeah.
push me. If I see that you lie,
Hmm.
if I found out that you lie,
Right. Right. Right.
you
Right.
push me away.
Hmm. Right. Right.
Because I feel like now you're not genuine. You know,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
that's one. Two, if I can't trust you,
Right. Honesty. Like I would say, honesty is one of my biggest things too.
yeah, that's my
Hmm.
biggest one.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
three, if you don't allow me to be me. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Uh huh. Uh-huh.
Why you doing that? Or some? Because I remember one time I went on a date, and I could be chill or I could be
Right.
hyper. Because I remember
Yeah.
one time I was in a relationship, my
Hmm.
boyfriend, he looked my boyfriend at the time, my ex, he just looked at me. He was like, "Oh, you hungry?" Because I was quiet.
Right.
I just saw that. I just looked at him like, "Yeah, I'm hungry. Can we get to this restaurant, please?"
Right.
So my mood would change. And I guess when the guy, I guess I was hyper, but we was in a
Right.
restaurant, they had music, I'm just
Right. You're having a good time.
like, he just was like, you really hyper, energetic. So I was just like, this ain't gonna, in my mind, I ain't saying it right now because I needed
Mhm.
to eat.
Right. Right.
I still need to
Right. Right. Right.
get
Mhm.
my plate right. So I was like, in my mind, like, this is not
Mhm.
gonna work. I'm not calling this block as soon as
Mhm.
I leave. But those are my
Mhm.
three boundaries. So
Mhm. Mhm.
I won't get hurt or feel, add to the journey of my forgiveness.
Yeah, forgiveness. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Because I'm like, you know what? They just showed me their character. And I think that's part of maturing too.
Right. 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 It is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
part of growing up, being
Growing.
mature. Yeah,
Mhm.
because when I
Developing. Mhm. It's part of your development.
basically,
Right. Yeah.
basically,
But I
but
definitely want someone who's loving, caring, honest, helpful too. I want to see those qualities in a person. Hmm.
and be assertive. Like when I say assertive, like sometimes people, that's why I say I always want to be myself. Like I could be
Hmm.
energetic or I could be very assertive. I could be
Right.
forward, like,
Hmm.
me, why are you doing that?
Right.
And
Right.
some people are scared to speak up in a relationship because they don't want that person to lead them.
To lead. Right. Hmm.
Yeah, they're like, oh, let me play
Hmm.
submissive, submissive, submissive all the
Right.
time.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
there's a time and a place in a relationship, any relationship across the board, that you
Hmm.
need to be assertive. Like, no, I don't like that.
Right.
Excuse me, back up. Like maybe the person get excited, and they put their hands in their face, like, oh, back up. That's not my no, no, no.
Right. Right. Right.
She's
Right. And
the
I speak, and I'm, and, yeah, and there's times I speak up in a relationship too. Like, I mean, now I do. I tell them how I feel about something. Hmm.
mm, DC. You definitely live in
And it's
DC.
good because you can see, like, if that person, if they can deal with it, then they're still around. If they can't, have an open conversation and and be honest. We can't deal with that. Then that means you're actually not ready for a relationship. Because that's what a relationship is with anybody.
Yes. You know what? So you shared
That's.
forgiveness in your career. You
Hmm.
shared forgiveness in a relationship.
Hmm.
Is there another area in your life where you had to forgive? Well, you did family because you talk about your father.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is there anything else like maybe? Oh, I think you checked it because you did say not spending money a lot because that was your boundary.
Hmm.
So that could be forgiveness. You know how wow,
Hmm.
I need to learn not to learn to be frugal in certain areas.
Right. And I'm learning to be frugal. Right. Hmm. Yep. It's not easy, but I'm learning how to do it because I am a social person. But I found there's other ways to be social.
Okay.
You understand
Are
what I'm
you a
saying?
giver?
Yes, I am. Hmm.
Okay. Because some people are more like a giver, like that's their love language to show
Hmm.
you that I care or I love you, or I'm interested. Like, oh, I want to go get this. Or you, when you like someone, you at the store, you see it, and you're like, oh, I gotta
Mhm.
get it because I want them to have it
Right.
because I.
Sometimes I think, yeah, I think like that sometimes. Yes, people I care about. Hmm.
Okay. I'm like
Yes.
that as well, but I have to control it. Like, hold up, you don't know that person yet.
Right. Exactly. Right. I don't have to go on big dates or expensive dates. Let's just do a little meet and greet because you're just meeting this person. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. A lot of dating taught
Which
me
is
as
important.
well.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Oh, I said which is important.
It's very important because a lot of dating taught me too. A
Right.
lot of dating taught me how to maneuver in other areas and maneuver when I started really, you know,
Right.
dating other people. Like, remember you did that, don't do that again. You
Right.
know, change it up. You know,
Hmm.
it's a lot with adulting, being an adult,
It is. It is.
especially when you want to be healthy.
Right.
You don't want to
Mhm.
be, because I see a
Yeah.
lot of people that's not healthy, like
Right.
screaming, yelling, and
Yeah. It's not. It's no point for all that. It's not necessary. It's like just reflect. Take some time for yourself, and
yeah,
even maybe write things down so it can like come to tuition. Like it will come. Like you'll wake up. It's like knocking on wood. Like, oh my gosh, I
yeah,
get it now.
got a revelation
Right.
basically.
That's that self care. That's
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
that journey. Hmm. There was a song. What is it by? Self care. Uh, Ari Lennox. It was the band Ari Dreamville. Am I saying her Dreamville? And it's called Self Love. Like it's literally called Self Love. So I used to listen to that a lot back.
Oh, you
Hmm.
know some of the lyrics? What they say?
I can't remember the lyrics. I gotta put it on. I'm bad.
But no, it's very important because and it's good that you brought it up because the journey of forgiveness
Hmm.
is about becoming self-love. Because
Right.
once you start forgiving, you'll start
Right.
loving yourself more, and you'll start knowing how to treat other people.
Yes.
Can you
Hmm.
imagine everybody had that forgiving attitude, like, oh, just go
Hmm.
ahead, whatever. It would be so smooth walking. Someone actually bump you. You not,
Hmm.
hey, you ain't see me. You'll be like, oh,
And you'll know when you really forgave someone. You'll feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll just buzz. Like you'll just know. You'll be like in a condition. Like, oh my gosh, I actually really forgive them. You think about. You don't even know when it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
yeah,
If you're putting in the work, it's going to happen.
basically.
Eventually, it
I
will budge.
know
Hmm.
it's true because I'm about to say my coworker, my neighbor, I couldn't stand the dude because he did some bad stuff to me.
Uh
And
huh.
one day I actually waved at him. I was like, did I just, I caught myself. I was like, oh my, because did I actually wave at this man?
Right,
I
man.
said,
Right. I know. I remember the story you were
yeah,
telling me about that.
whatever.
I get it because it could become a snowball effect. You know what I'm saying? And we don't want that to happen. So we all got to put in our part, and it's not easy.
It's not, but it's worth it.
It's right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's worth it. The process is worth it. And it also gets you to learn yourself more as well.
Uh-huh.
When you start saying, hold up, I'm not going to allow this person
Right.
to dictate my character, dictate my emotions.
Hmm.
And when you start chiseling away of not hoarding, I'm going to say hoarding all that bad energy
Right.
inside of you, what people, did to you, and
Uh-huh.
you release it, then you be a shining bright star.
Right. Exactly. I totally agree.
And I want to say this scripture because I love this scripture because this helps me
Hmm.
on my journey, and it comes from First John 1:9.
Hmm.
If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to
Mm.
cleanse us from all unrighteousness.
Mm.
Really like this scripture because once you start building a relationship with God
Mm.
and you
Hmm.
ask for forgiveness, you
Hmm.
start moving forward and not letting
Hmm.
stuff hinder you,
Right.
and you're feeling like a new person. And if I go to God and ask for forgiveness so I can move forward. You don't
Mhm.
think other people need forgiveness as well? The people that came
Mhm.
up against me and hurt me, I'm like, you
Mhm.
know what?
They need
I know I
forgiveness,
need
right?
forgiveness.
Right. We all need forgiveness. We all need that grace, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the key word, grace, and that's how
Right.
people should start doing
Mm-hmm.
life. And that's what you gave your principal, grace.
Mm-hmm. Other people,
I'm
right?
like,
Grace.
hold
Even.
on.
Mm-hmm.
You was like, this something ain't right with her. She don't act like this.
She don't never act like right. It's other stuff going on. I know her mom's ill. Like it's a lot of things going on, and she's
Yeah,
the only child too. So I learned a lot about her
okay.
recently.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's good, but the key thing of learning that too is she don't know how to balance it. Balance
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's blowing up like a balloon, and she's
Mm-hmm.
taking it out on other people,
Right.
and
That's it.
which
Mm-hmm.
is not healthy, you know.
It's not at
But
all.
you just
Mm-hmm.
speak to her and tell her to, you look, cast all your cares on God, allow God to heal you through what you're going through, and
Right.
release
Right.
it before you know whatever you're going through. Make sure you pray before you enter your job. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? So you
Right.
can do your job. I
Mm-hmm.
was to say come back to whatever you're dealing with.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, you know, things would transpire where she don't
Right.
have to come back to it. But
Right.
that's a
Absolutely.
good example you're using your principle because that's how a lot of people have static with each other. But you
Mm-hmm.
knew that it was more than what it was.
But right. And that's hard to share. It's hard for me to share that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you knew, but it
Person.
was good though. It was good because you, what is you didn't look at the situation. You more
Mhm.
looked at her in the inside.
Inside, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you look moved past the situation. You go went straight to the source of her, like
Exactly. Because I
something.
know her. This has been 4 years, and she never act like this. Like, what's going
Yeah.
on? Even everybody else says she's changed. Like, something's not right.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, y'all just pray for y'all principal because
Yes.
that, like you said, was a lot. That job is a lot of responsibility, and then
It
you
is.
got the outside work.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, you didn't allow that situation to change your character because, like you said, you got your job. I mean, you
Right.
got the outside lifestyle too, and then you
Right.
got to put in your job. You could have her energy could have insert you, but you didn't allow it to insert you where you could walk around with your head all mad.
Right. Uh-huh. mm-hmm.
Man, that's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful though.
Yeah, I didn't want that to happen. I had to think about it because also the word, to couple rotten apples into school, and I know they trying to get, oh, there's, a black male and a black woman. I can get them against each other and da da da. I could sit in the back. I know they're working indirectly, in the back, so in the background. So I'm like, no, let me think about this. Let me really think about this.
That's good. Oh, DC, that is good.
hmm
The
Oh, and they
enemy.
can't stand it. I already know they started. They can't stand it.
Ooh, glad
Just
you
how
have
their
wisdom.
behavior completely changed quick
Mm,
for the behavior. Their looks, how they look at me, the things they say. Don't even say good morning anymore. Okay, yeah, I was right.
wow, that's good. I'm glad you had discernment in
hmm
that situation what you was going through. Excuse me, any advice you would like to give the viewers, especially the black men who's teachers and
hmm
black men who, have some similarities of you?
I would say just to stay strong, stay to who you are, especially love yourself, reach out to people that you can trust, family, friends, and just, you know, love. Like, I don't, that's what I would say.
Okay. And I
hmm
thank you for sharing, being in a domestic relationship because
hmm
um, they say that a lot of black men don't share it. They don't
hmm
open up about it because they look at men like, now, how you about to get in a relationship? I mean,
Right.
domestic relationship is typically women. Oh, you okay? But no one
hmm
sues the man if they in a a relationship that's domestic.
Right. I would say also just to, maybe write it down first
Okay.
so you can prepare yourself to say, okay, I can share this with somebody like that you can trust. Again, maybe a family or a friend that you trust, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's good.
Mhm.
Good advice. How did you feel to see your support system?
I felt grateful, man. I felt great because a lot of people don't have that. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? Like I have a lot of friends and family that, was ready to support me and they still support me to this day. So
good.
I feel like that's like angels. That's God watching over me. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
definitely angels. He's because I could have died that day and I didn't. Like I'm still here, and I feel
Mm,
like there's that was angels because
mm,
all of a sudden they just stopped and they held her head and said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Like they just stopped.
mm,
It was very interesting how that all um, like how it all happened. It was something.
mm. Wow,
Hmm.
that is so interesting. So glad that you was able to get out of that and move
Yeah.
forward and healed. And yeah,
And it's the reason why I push forward to, be who I am and still give and still, stay sane and still, because I feel like God has put angels in my life. I've been through other situations. God has got me through it and I'm still here and I'm
yeah,
stronger than before and I'm still learning more. It's a beautiful thing. Like it's just, it has to be angels. I'm telling
yeah,
you, it
yeah.
has to be.
Mm. Make sure you
God
read.
wants me here for some reason still. He wants me here.
Yeah, I think it's
Mhm.
Psalm 91. Let me see. I want
And
to
I
read.
need to go to church where I don't go as much, but I know I'm a
I
good
want you to
person. I have
start
a good
coming
heart.
with me.
You know what I'm saying? And
I want you to start coming with me. You
I
all
know.
out. You live in Baltimore. You all the way out in Baltimore, but you could come with me one day.
Yeah, I
I,
can. That's not a problem.
it's not a problem.
No,
Okay.
it's not.
Make sure you put it on your calendar one Saturday because we
Right.
celebrate on Sabbath. I can't stand Bible.
Hmm.
I mean, I like it, the Bible apps, but they always have these
Hmm.
commercials or
Right.
ads popping up when you try to go straight to your Bible. Like, where's
Hmm.
that at? Like, come on now, stop playing. But I want to read Psalm
Hmm.
91 to you. That's what dropped in my spirit.
Hmm.
Psalms got a lot of chapters. You hear me?
Mm. It's a lot of messages
Yeah. So
and out there.
it's 16 verses. Psalms 91, 1 through 16.
Hmm.
He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and
Hmm.
my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and
Hmm.
from the loathsome pestilence.
Hmm.
He
Hmm.
shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in the darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday.
Hmm.
A
Hmm.
thousand shall fall at the side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thy eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angel charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash their foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. This is the King James version. Huh?
Okay.
Because he, because
I
he
believe it, but
has
I'm listening.
set because he has set his love upon me, therefore would I deliver him. I will set him on high because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With
Hmm.
long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation.
Mm.
Like I like that because God kept you.
Hmm.
Like God
That's
kept you.
real. That's
Because you know God is real. You know, it
right.
doesn't matter
Hmm.
who we are. God, if you know God is real, I believe God will keep you. And you would start moving forward and building a more relationship with God. And once you start
Right.
building a stronger relationship,
Right.
God,
Right.
hunger, your hunger will start growing and growing and growing. You know how you be hungry, like, oh, I need to go cook me some food. Like,
Right.
you will be hungry, like, oh, I need to go for God. I need to go upon God. I need to
Yeah.
put my.
I need God. Right. Right.
Yeah,
It's like
so
a need. Like yes. Like
yeah,
you
God
need
will always keep you
water. Right.
consistent. So I'm so glad that He covered you and you, that man, and you forgave him as well because
Hmm.
God said, "How can I forgive you if you don't forgive others as well?"
Right. And I learned a lot from that. Like you just never
Yeah,
know. Things may have happened for a reason too.
yeah. So I'm so glad. I
Hmm.
appreciate you expressing, being transparent, and
Yeah.
opening up and telling us
Right.
your life story, your testament. So
Right.
any any little nuggets you want to drop before we end?
No, just I hope that this shed some light and gave provided some knowledge for people. We could hopefully change someone's life with this conversation.
Yeah,
Hmm. With us conversing.
that's why I started. Yeah, that's why I started. God put it on my heart
Mhm.
to go for. You speak about
Right.
forgiveness because forgiveness really breaks down a lot in our lives where we can become better
Right.
people and be the people that God designed us to be. So I
Hmm.
thank you once again for accepting the invitation. You guys, I mean, DC, you
Right.
guys, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and we appreciate you guys, and y'all just enjoy.
See you. Bye.